Hey everyone, today I'm creating 24 cards using the Call Me Crafty SheetLoad of Card template for December 2025. I am part of the creative team, so you will find a playlist below as well as links to all of the other creators, so I highly suggest you go and check out their videos. We all use the sketch in totally different ways. The pad I'm using today is Friends Fur-Ever. This is 6.5 by 6.5 and is by Kaisercraft here in Australia. I have picked out a whole series of different pattern papers and I've used up all of those pieces to create the cards today. Now, this pattern paper says that there are 36 sheets, but you get these 4 sheets that I'm showing you here of extras, which is labels, embellishments, little interesting features that you can add to your cards. Now, for me today, I have gone ahead and picked the pattern papers that have the cats and dogs on them to use as my feature on top. And then I have picked some of the supporting pattern papers that I think would layer nicely behind. And then I'm using some plain cardstock as the base layer. Now, because I wanted the cards to look slightly different, they're not completely different, but slightly different, I did try out what that backing layer would be, and some of them are brown. These ones here are going to be black, and then you'll see in a moment that rather than using black for 2 of the same designs, I have chosen to switch out the black for not quite a dark navy, but a blue that will match really nicely with one of these front designs. Now, in the Kaisercraft pack, you get the 40 sheets, and in terms of the pattern papers, you get 2 of each sheet. There are 24 that are just normal pattern papers, and then there are 12 of them that are specialty papers. Well, when I say specialty, they've actually got sort of a gloss or specialty finish. And in this case, it's like an embossed gloss design over the top. So for example, in the card design on the right-hand side where it's the pale green and it has the dog bones on it, those dog bones are raised up. So when you run your fingers over it, they are lifted up on the pattern paper. So super, super cute papers. And this sketch was really quick for a bulk card maker. So sometimes with the card sketches that have a lot of pieces, it can take quite some time to create bulk. But with this one, I picked the 2 pattern papers to go together on the base of the layout. And then I'm running through and I'm adding some ATG to the back of these little feature papers. And then I'm going to mat them on white and then put them straight on top of the card. Originally, I expected that I would mat everything on white, but because I like to use a white card base, it worked out really well this time that I just matted this one piece in white and then used the dark cardstock for the base layer for the pattern papers that you will see me cut up shortly. I'm using here some of my scraps of white paper. You can see that there were 3 different sizes that I pulled from my stash. They would have been leftovers from when I was cutting down panels of a particular size, and these are the leftover pieces that I had put aside to use for a future project, which just happens to be this one that I'm completing today. Now, because there is an angled cut on the back of this design, what I've done is I've paired up 2 pieces of the pattern paper together and I've cut them at once. And then I have kept those 2 pieces together so that I can pick up 1 of each design. And then I know that that cut and that angle is going to be consistent between the 2 pieces of paper. I'm not measuring it. I'm literally eyeballing it. And I'm just figuring out, as long as I've got some kind of angle in there, when I put the card design together, it will work out perfectly. I just need to keep those pairs of pattern paper together and make sure I pick 1 of each half of the cut, so that, again, down the middle of the card, that space where there's no pattern paper is consistent. Really, really quick process, didn't really overthink it, just ran through, cut them all down. And then I think you'll see in a moment that I run through and I create an example card using the brown one here. So some quick ATG on the back, and then with this backing panel, which is 5.25 by 4 inches, I'm literally lining a piece up at one end, spinning it around and lining up the other piece at the bottom. And then that gap in the middle is going to be a standard straight line, and this will work out beautifully. One of the things that I did do when I put all of these cards together is I did not double check the sketch, and I have lined all of these front elements up smack bang in the middle of the front panel. Now this is good, you can still add a sentiment to it, etc. But in the card sketch, you're actually supposed to put it a little bit higher up and leave space at the bottom so you can put a sentiment under that pattern paper. So I did not do that, but I worked around it and I found it okay to add sentiments, and I managed to dig out a whole bunch of different, mainly birthday sentiments out of my stash. So some of the cards looked a little bit different than others, but today I was really working through making the most of this Kaisercraft pattern paper and these cute little animals on the front. Now, I am not really a dog or cat person, but I know that a lot of people are, and they're very, very popular. So I'm hoping that these cards end up putting a smile on people's face when they see the cute little animals. Now, I think one of these, I think it's the mint green, the animals are printed in gloss. So that is one of the specialty papers. So the pink and the blue is just matte, and the green is matte with the animals with a gloss finish, as though they've kind of been embossed with embossing powder if that's something that you have used in card making. You can see here I'm working through all of my sentiments. I've put the square happy birthday in the one at the top. I've got a thinking of you here. One of the main things that decided if I put the sentiment on the pattern paper or beneath it was whether I was going over the top of a full animal or a chopped off animal, if that makes sense. So at the bottom of this one on the right hand side, you can see there's part of a cat, and then there's the sausage dog above it. So in this one, it's most likely that when I picked out a sentiment, I have put it over the incomplete cat at the bottom, because it's not kind of chopping one of the little animals in half when I add the sentiment. Although, actually, now I think about it, this one I'll put it below, because you can see I actually unpeeled this one and moved it up to the top to leave the gap below. So this was the only card that I made that was aligned to the sketch. And you can see with this one, everything's in the middle. So there's a little less of a gap below, but I managed to make it work. If you are enjoying the video, it would be amazing if you could click the like button or put a comment below. That is how YouTube knows that you are enjoying the video. I will include links below to all of the products that I've used, just in case you are trying to search for something. And I hope you give the sketch a go. This one was a really good one. I liked the simplicity of it, and it meant that I could pick a really nice feature paper for the front that really held its own. I didn't put any embellishments or add anything else to the card. And then I was able to use some of the less busy pattern papers as the two behind that really complemented the colours on the front of the cards. I have put another video here that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.